Let's talk to Andrew Montford, Director of Net Zero Watch, because only this week we've got Ed Miliband chanting and raving on about what a brilliant job he's doing, trying to spend taxpayers' money. Have a look at this.
School's back, Parliament's back, and I'm back announcing the record-breaking results of our renewables auction. 131 projects powering 11 million homes. This is what it means to deliver our clean energy mission, energy security for Britain. School's back, Parliament's back, and I'm back. Sorry.
Yeah, he's not known as First Take Ed for nothing, because he's not First Take Ed. But Andrew, very good morning to you. What he doesn't tell us, of course, in that little promotional clip from the Department of Energy, is it's going to cost us a bleeding fortune. I think the Telegraph's got a piece this morning saying as much as £150 per household. And the idea that it's an auction is a bit of a kind of a smokescreen, isn't it? Because it's not really an auction. It's a place where we give loads of money to people to see if they'll pick up on a project.
Absolutely. £150 is probably in the right kind of ballpark for what this is going to add to people's bills, and some of it will come through on your electricity bill, and some of it will come through in the cost of living. It's rather scary just how fanatical Ed Miliband is. We are really getting to a crunch point on electricity bills. They are going to start going up exponentially from now on. And he's ploughing on regardless. He just ducks the important questions of what we're going to do when the wind isn't blowing. It looks at the moment like we're going to just stick with gas turbines. But he's a bit vague about that, and he's trying to shut down the North Sea, which makes no sense to anybody if we're going to keep the gas turbines. It's an utter mess. But he's a fanatic, He's dangerous.
He is. I think you're absolutely right. And I noticed the other day, I think you put out a tweet suggesting that the amount of power we were generating by both solar and wind was negligible into the national grid.
Yeah, I mean, at times it is certainly negligible. It's been down to just a few gigawatts, so, a few % of demand. But at times it soars through the roof. When it's windy, we generate at times more power than we actually need, and then we have to pay these wind farms to switch off. It's lose-lose for the consumer. And the average price of electricity goes up and up and up. We've been doing renewables for 20 years, up until the start of the Ukraine war. Gas prices had remained stable. Electricity prices had doubled. That's the effect of renewables. Okay, we then had the Ukraine war and prices soared. They've now come down again, but it looks like they're starting to turn and go up again as we add more renewables onto the grid. So people have to expect under the Labour government that we're going to get another 5 years of electricity price rises. And I don't know whether you saw what went on in Parliament when Ed Miliband announced the results of the auction. The Conservatives basically applauded him and said how wonderful it was.
Well, the only clip that I've seen that's worth a fag end is Richard Tice actually putting to him that it is a complete and utter disaster for Britain, a disaster for consumers, and it's going to cost us all an awful lot of money. And all he gets back from Miliband is that, the prices didn't rise because of renewables, the prices rose because of our over-dependence on fossil fuels. And you go, well, yeah, but if your fossil fuel dependence was actually homegrown and we had our own fossil fuels, it would be fine.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I thought Ed Miliband's response to Richard Tice was absolutely shameful. He's basically trying to duck Tice's questions. Yeah. This idea that you should plan the future of the energy system based on what happened for an 18-month period at a time of war. We don't want our electricity system designed for war needs. We want an electricity system designed for what happens normally. Right. But what Miliband is going to give us is permanently high electricity prices. That is an absolute catastrophe for British consumers and for British industry.
And why does he keep lying in that case about how much cheaper it's going to be? I mean, we know that the £300 saving that they promised us from this Great British Energy fiasco was a lie, and it continues to be a lie. They've more or less forgotten about it now. They don't really mention it. But he keeps saying that all of this new renewable energy reliance will give us cheaper energy, and it won't.
Yeah, I mean, there may be a very misleading case that it's going to give us electricity that was cheaper than it was in 2020 at the height of the Ukraine war. But in essence, all those auction bids came in at prices that are above market prices for electricity. We can see that we're paying out £200 million a month in subsidies to these wind farms now. So it's more of the same. It's more subsidies. It's more uneconomic renewables, and it's higher bills. There's nothing we can do to prevent that. It's basically jobs
for the boys, isn't it? At the end of the day, Andrew, thanks for talking to us. Good conversation. Andrew Montford, there, director of Net Zero Watch. How about this?